Alrighty, welcome back to the study of Revelations 101. And this is going to be the last book of the book of Daniel that we're going to study, be chapter 12. It's not one that too many really get into and read. People read through it, but they just don't study it. Well, we're going to do that. Okay. It's only 13 verses. We'll cover that. It'll be a pretty intense because there's some prophecies in here that we have to explore. Now, when we get done with this one, I'll go in. This will be part 7. Part 8, I'm going to do a complete review of the of all the books that we covered, and we'll go into what does Daniel say about the Antichrist. It'll be just a review. I won't say a quick review, but it'll be a review where you'll be able to come back and taking everything that we've studied. It'll be in one section. We can cover. There's so much information that we were told about the Antichrist, we really don't realize what we do know about it. And it's just something that we really don't get any cover. We know the term the Antichrist, and we might have heard the abomination of desolation. We know about the whore of Babylon, and we know about the beheading of those who believed, and very, very little. And we shall see there's a lot that the Old Testament really said about this. Like I said, when you get to the book of Revelation, you're going to be really shocked at how much information you really know about it. And when you get there, there'll be some things that not really clear, but that's okay, not meant to be. Not everything that is revealed is meant to be understood until that time it takes place. That's okay. Don't be afraid to admit you don't know something. What gets people in trouble in the body of Christ, not everybody understands everything. You only have a piece of the puzzle. And I will be the first one to tell you there's a lot of things I don't know and don't claim to know. And I'm not going to tell you I do know. There are just some things that I just don't get, and it's okay. And you should be able to do the same thing. Only tell people what you do know, and that's fine. God can defend himself. He don't need me. He does great on his own. My job is to spread the gospel and the good news. Okay, let's get on with this one. Chapter 12 is only 13 verses. It'd be pretty quick. And at that time shall Michael stand up, and the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. There shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. That's the book of life. Okay, Lamb's book of life. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. This tells you here only two paths. One is eternity in the lake of fire, or eternity with God in heaven. I'd say new heaven and new earth. People don't understand. Everyone that was conceived lives forever. Everybody. Don't care who and what you think you are. Once life has started and conception has taken place, a person is made. And what will happen is everybody, from the moment of conception on forward, will spend eternity somewhere. Okay. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and the knowledge shall be increased. And I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half, that's 3.5 years. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, and there shall be 1,290 days. Now we will see this term in the book of Revelation, stopping of the daily sacrifices and the abomination of desolation. Remember that this is a very key verse. Okay. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,330 days. But go thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. Okay. So these are the 13 verses. This is the last book. Okay. Might as well say that this is Israel's time of trouble. Now I'm going to say this here. The church did not replace the nation of Israel. We are a grafted vine into it. Don't be anti-Semitic. Israel, from the Old Testament, from the book of Daniel, we know from the timelines that we studied, they owe 1 week. A day is a year. So Israel owes God 7 days or 7 years to finish up judgment placed upon them. And they have to complete it. This is what this is about. This is a time of Jacob's trouble. Now, this will be explained a little bit more. This is about the last 3.5 years. Now, this will be part of it. Okay. So let's go in and let's study these 13 verses. And it's actually pretty in depth. You'll be amazed at what we're fixing. Now, I replaced my outline with, now this is from the Blue Bible or the Blue Book. I replaced mine because this was a little bit more up to date than what I had. And I think it's done a little bit better than what I had. It's just very few times I replace one of my outlines, but I thought it was important because times are changing so rapidly. And like I said, every now and then I have to update my material because things are being more clear. And when I first started, I'll be the first one to tell you, if you teach this, you have to update your material because things are happening so fast with artificial intelligence. We're seeing gene manipulation. We're seeing CRISPR-9. We're at the point we can make genetic babies. You're seeing now that they can take stem cells and make a child without an egg or a sperm. So many things are taking place. And we can, at this point, probably genetically modify where you can combine humans with animals and live. We're seeing all these things because we're already seeing human parts being grown on rats and other things. And like I said, when I first started, all this stuff, it wasn't even, it was fantasized and maybe in a sci-fi movie, but things are real now. So we're seeing now things have changed. So if you're a teacher and you've been doing this for a while, update your material because you're going to have to start bringing this stuff in. And probably a year from now, I may have to update again because of whatever else has come in, especially with AI and Chat GTP. Okay. At that time, this does not mean what is described in Daniel chapter 12, verse 1 happens immediately after what the events in Daniel chapter 11, verses 36 to 35. It means that it will happen in the same error. And this is more or less Jacob's trouble. This will be a time error of basically the last 3.5 years of the tribulation. Michael stands up. The angel Michael is often associated with spiritual battle. We see him many times in spiritual battle taking place. He's there. And Gabriel. Since Michael is called the archangel, that's Jude chapter 1, verse 9, he is Satan's true opponent. Satan is not the opposite of Jesus. He is the opposite of Michael, this high-ranking angel. The great prince who stands watch over the sons of your people. In addition to his role as a spiritual warrior, Michael has a specific job in protecting Israel. God appointed Michael as a spiritual guardian over Israel. There shall be a time of trouble. This refers to the time of persecution for Israel and world calamity known as the Great Tribulation, the time of Jacob's trouble. This period is also called the time of Jacob's trouble in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. Never, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time, the Jewish people have known many times of trouble. We've seen that time and time again throughout their history. From the horrors of the fall of Samaria and Jerusalem to the terrors wrought by Antiochus, I can't even pronounce his name, that was the Greek ruler, to the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans, to the persecution from the church during the Dark Ages, to pogroms of Europe, to the 20th century Holocaust. It often seems that all of Israel's history has been a time of trouble. Yet this time of trouble will be different. This will be the worst time of trouble that Israel has ever seen before. I can't imagine just getting past the Holocaust alone. It's going to be far worse than that. And we really don't have a concept by the time that the tribulation comes to the judgment of the nations. Over 4 billion people would have died during this time period. And just 2 billion during just the first 3.5 years. We ain't even got to the Antichrist yet. He's there, he's operational, he's doing his thing. But 3.5 year mark, which is the fifth seal, is where he comes in and he does his thing. It's when he becomes Antichrist with a false prophet. Until then, he is not the ruler of the earth. Okay. Jesus quoted, and we know we covered Matthew 24:21, and this will be a great tribulation such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, nor shall ever be. With great sadness, the Bible teaches that the far worse is yet to come. Okay. Horrifying. Okay. Revelations 12, verses 13 through 17, that tells us what makes this time so terrible, describes the fury of the devil directed against the Jewish people during this time. Like I say, I updated mine because I wanted to get more into the nation of Israel than what I had. The trumpet, seals, and bowls of Revelation all describe horrific conditions of the world in general during this time. The Jewish people will be targets of the full fury of the devil and the Antichrist during this time period. We will live in a world that will be incredible upheavals because of the judgments of God. Ain't got to wrath yet. During this time period, wrath after wrath, judgment after judgment after judgment. The full wrath of God is the day of the Lord. We will cover this in the Old Testament. By the time we get there, you will see where conflicts come in. Okay. And at that time, your people shall be delivered, everyone who is found in them, written in the book. Despite the terrors of that time, deliverance is assured. No matter how great the attacks against the Jewish people, God promised to preserve them. He will never break his promise to Abraham. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you and their generations for an everlasting covenant to be God to you and your descendants after you. That's Genesis chapter 17, verse 7. Everyone who is written in the book. This promise of deliverance is not for every last person of Jewish heritage, but is for those who are found written in the book. It's the book of life. Not every person of Jewish heritage will be saved. Yet for Israel as a whole, it will be known as a people who trust in Jesus as their Messiah and truly turn to the Lord, as Romans 11, 25 through 27. At the last, the remnant of Israel, the remnant who is left, will accept Jesus as their Messiah, and they will be there to greet him into his millennial reign. This is where Christians get lost, and prophecy, I will say 1,000 times, we did not replace the nation of Israel. Don't listen to any preacher who tells you that. Don't be an anti-Semite. That promise to Abraham, I'll bless those who bless you and curse you who curse you. We are a grafted vine, we Gentiles. Okay. The resurrection of the dead. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. I'm not going to get into that because it's self-explanatory. You either go to heaven or you go to hell. And I'm going to say the lake of fire. One day you're going to wake up. When you die, you're going to wake up. You live forever. It's one or the other. And church doctrine has changed some of this. You got churches now teaching there's more to one way to heaven than Jesus. Sorry, wrong answer. You buy that line, you definitely got a seat in line for the lake of fire. That's out of the pits of hell. The only way to heaven is a personal relationship with Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. There is no other way. Buddha won't get you there. I'm sorry, the Muslim belief, Muhammad ain't going to get you there. Ain't going to happen. You believe that, I'm sorry, I won't see you in heaven. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to skip that. Okay. A promise for the righteous. Those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the firmament, and those who turn many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. Those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the firmament. Those who live in God's wisdom will shine. Despite the entire calamity, all the difficulty coming upon Israel, God has those who are wise and they shall shine. This may not be a reference, but we know that the 144,000 Jehovah Witnesses, and they ain't the ones come on your door knocking during the week. I promise you that. It ain't them. They are from the 12 tribes of Israel, 12,000 each, of chastened virgins. They will be operational during the time of Jacob's trouble. The last 3.5 years, they're going to be operational. You're going to have the two witnesses, and then you're going to have the 144,000 throughout the earth. All God's people are like stars in the sense that they radiate light and help others to see and find their way. You should be a light in you. But certainly those who turn many to righteousness even more brightly, helping even more people see the light and find their way. This promise applies to all the wise and all those who turn many to righteousness through all ages, but it may have a specific application to the 144,000 evangelists from Israel's tribes during the tribulation, and that's out of Revelation chapter 7. Like I said, 144,000. 12,000 from each tribe. Now, the tribe of Dan has been wiped out. It will be restored during the time of the millennial reign. But Manasseh replaced the tribe of Dan. Just like with the disciples, there were 13 disciples, there was 13 tribes, foreshadowing of the New Testament. Remember, Dan wiped out, he was replaced. Judas was replaced by another disciple. Okay. Forever and ever, the brightness of God's wise ones and those who turn many to righteousness will last forever. It isn't fading and endures, and so many of the things we put our efforts into, even if they succeed, are only temporary shines. It's worse to invest our lives in things that are forever and ever. Okay. Conclusion of the book. But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, knowledge shall increase. We see here that knowledge is increasing so rapidly that it's within days, if not hours, that it is time, our knowledge is increased, but we see to and fro. We're seeing now we can travel within so many hours around, we go to any point in the world within hours, within a day. So we've seen that this was held off into our time period. We see with rocket ships, and we see with jets, and we see with ships that we can go any point in the world within a short time point. And we also increase of knowledge, and everybody's searching for something, but the information is there. There's so much information that's at our fingertips. It's just amazing what's there. Okay, shut up the words and seal the book. Daniel has revealed enough to us so that the book can readily be sealed. We see a world ruler utterly opposite to God, a world religion based on the abomination of desolation, a world war which defeats the ruler. We know that's at the end of the judgment of the nations. A time of great tribulation for Israel lasting 3.5 years, deliverance for the people of God after the tribulation, resurrection and judgment, the rewards of righteousness. How long would this trouble be? It's basically going to be 3.5 years. But what happens during this time period? Okay. Well, times, and half time. We know that's 3.5 years, the Great Tribulation. Describes a period where saints are given into Antichrist's hands. Described it as a period between the breaking of the Antichrist covenant with Israel, the erection of the abomination of desolation, and the establishment of Jesus' kingdom. Described as a duration of the time of trouble, the time of Jacob. Described as a period that the holy city will be tread underfoot by Gentiles. Describes it as a period of ministry for the two witnesses. Describes it as a period that Israel, there's only probably a remnant left, is preserved by God in the wilderness. We know that if they don't flee the mountain, this would happen. Describes it as a duration, the Antichrist's authority to rule, persecute, and blaspheme. And we also see the 144,000 evangelizing throughout the world and leading many into the kingdom of God. Okay. And it says here, Daniel's last question, how will it turn out? And it says, although I heard, I didn't understand. And I said, my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? Although I heard, I didn't understand. Discomfort us. Daniel didn't understand it all either, even though he heard it firsthand. What shall be in these things? Perhaps Daniel asked the question because he was anxious as he understood just how terrible the time of trouble would be. Okay, Daniel's 9 through 13. Answer, God will purify and preserve his people and has set a limit of days to the end of trouble. And it says, and he says, go your way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. And many shall be purified, made white, and refined. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away and the abomination of desolation is set up, there shall be 1,335 days, but you will go your way till the end, for you shall rest and will arise to your inheritance until the end of the days. Okay, go your way, Daniel. The command to go your way is literally just means go, but is not meant physically. The angel told Daniel to make a mental departure from the questioning. More details would be revealed later, but Daniel must be content with what God has revealed thus far. For the words are closed up and sealed till the end of time. Daniel must make a mental departure from questioning because the revealing things will not come till the time of the end. Until then, there's a sense in which these prophecies are closed up and sealed. Okay. I'm just going through cutting some of this out. Okay. And from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away and the abomination of desolation is set up, there shall be 1,290 days. This was an amazing specific prophecy. Daniel said, from the time of the abomination of desolation, you can simply start marking off your calendar to the final consumption of all these things 1,290 days later. This is why Jesus pointed to Daniel's prophecy about the abomination of desolation as the sign that would mark the immediacy of his return. Blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. It is difficult to say what the relationship between the 3.5 years mentioned in many places and the 1,335 days mentioned here. We could say that at the end of the 1,260 days, Jesus returned, and at the end of the 1,290 days, Jesus governs officially installed, and at the end of the 1,335 days, the nations are judged. This is a possible explanation. Like I said, I don't understand all this. This is from the good explanation of how many days that these things do take place. It makes sense to me, but I can't confirm it. I'm like you. We'll wait and see. There are 3 dates. We know 1,260, 1,290, and 1,335 days. They're all mentioned. We know specifically some of the things that take place, but here it doesn't give explicit details on this. And the last is go your way till the end. Alrighty, I'm going to stop there. That's a lot of information. I wanted to end with that. Like I said, there's things I don't understand, and like I say, those numbers kind of set me off. I just wanted to do something a little different, showing you the nation of Israel is the focus on Revelation. So I'm going to end here because my time's run out. We're going to the next segment I'm going to do real quick will be the review of the 12 books, and then we'll go on to something new. Love you. Bye. See you next episode.